Moon in Sidereal Leo Releasing practice for tonight, for tonight's full moon. Give me just one moment. I'm going to refresh my browser here if I can find my refresh button so I can pull up the live stream up on my laptop so that I don't lose your comments. But thanks everyone who's joining me. I'm very excited about tonight's releasing practice. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm refreshing my browser to pull up the live stream so that I don't lose comments. But again, thank you for joining me. And I got my notes all ready, so I'm just going to get them all prepped and we'll get started with tonight's full moon in Leo releasing practice. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Phaedra. I'm the astrologer and artist of Mystic Physic Astrology, and I use Western Sidereal Astrology in my practice. I use it to help you reconnect with your soul purpose and remember why you came. And mainly with the full moon and new moon practices, with the planner, with a lot of the other things that I do, that I offer, my aim is to provide guidance on how we can consciously use the energy of the transiting planets to affect our lives in a positive way. And so that's part of what all of this is about. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. I do have the live stream pulled up here, and I can see the comments. So I'm going to dive right in if everyone can see me and hear me okay. So tonight our full moon is exact at 16 degrees Leo at 8:51 p.m. Eastern time. So gosh, I'm in mountain time. There's 2 hours difference. So that's what, 6:51 my time. So we're just past the full moon. But it's in Leo, and so that's stimulating this creative type of energy in everyone, where you might have the urge to do things or make things or create things or get things that you want to do out into the world. And the full moon is definitely the time with that impulse to take action, and definitely do. It's a good time for you to wrap up things that you're working on and get them all finished and released out into the world. So let's start with, if you grab your pen and paper, what we're going to do first is we're going to go over what house this particular full moon is happening in by rising sign, starting with Aries. I will touch on the themes of that house to give you a moment to jot them down. Some of you might be familiar enough with the houses and with your chart that you don't need this part, but for anyone who's new, we'll just run through this quickly. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Leo archetype and Leo themes, and then we'll work that those concepts, those ideas, into our prompts for what we can consider letting go of or releasing tonight for a full moon releasing practice. So if you have Aries rising, this is a 5th house full moon for you. So creativity, children, romance, hobbies, risk-taking activities, sports, things you do for pleasure, basically. If you have Taurus rising, then this is a 4th house full moon, so home, family, and real estate, also your parents. For Gemini, it's a 3rd house full moon, so travel and communication, neighbors, siblings, your immediate environment, that sort of thing. And I'm actually going to write this down, 3rd house, because I'm Gemini rising, and I always forget by the time I get to the end, and I have to go back and look, and you know, because of the work I do, I can't keep track of these things that easy. Oh, come on. You know how many new and full moons I have going through my head at one time? Forget it. I got to check. So Cancer, if you have Cancer rising, this is a 2nd house full moon for you in your house of earned income and possessions, also expenses. And for Leo, this is going to be a 1st house full moon. So identity, personality, self-expression, the physical body, and the way you present yourself, if that makes sense. And then for Virgo, 12th house. So your unconscious mind, privacy, secrets, retreat, seclusion, those sorts of things. It also governs institutions of seclusion. And so sometimes the new and full moon are related to activities that have to do with those kinds of institutions when they happen in the 12th house. For Libra, it's an 11th house full moon, so friends, organizations, hopes and dreams, my personal favorite. You guys know that that's my favorite, though. I say that every time, I'm sure. And then for Scorpio, 10th house, so career, awards, recognition, fame, and achievement. But it can also be negative types of fame, like notoriety. The 10th house rules your reputation, and so things that happen to your reputation, both good and bad, show up there. And then for Sagittarius, this is a 9th house full moon for you, so long distance communication, things like publishing and broadcasting, higher education, law, international travel, immigration, that sort of thing. And also religious matters fall under the 9th house, and philosophy as well. And then for Capricorn, this is an 8th house full moon. So other people's resources, things like taxes or insurance or debts that you might owe, like if you have loans or credit cards. It also can be things like inheritances or things that have been given to you or left to you. And then your partner's income or bonus or commission income if you earn any kind of income through bonus or commission, or even lottery winnings, so like windfall monies can fall under the 8th house. Okay, so not money that you by your own two hands, basically. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining me. It's good to have you on. So I'm just running through what house this is falling into by rising sign, Elizabeth. And if you know your sidereal rising sign, if you want to let me know in the comments, I will tell you what house this is happening in for you and what themes are that house is governing tonight. So Capricorn, picking up where we left off. Capricorn, this is Capricorn, let's review. This is an 8th house, other people's money full moon. And then for Aquarius, 7th house. So marriage and partnerships and your relationships with other people in general, Aquarius. And then for Pisces, anyone who has their Pisces rising sidereally, this is a 6th house full moon. So work and health, your daily routines and habits, both good and bad, pets, employees, things like that, that falls under the 6th house. Okay, and so yes, if anyone's joining late and you need to know which house this is falling into, what the themes of that house are, this particular full moon, just let me know your rising sign, your sidereal rising sign in the comments, and I'll review that for you. Just type in what your rising sign is and I'll go back and look up what house this is falling into for you. But in the meantime, what we'll do is we'll touch on Leo archetypes and Leo themes. So Leo is fixed fire. And the one way that you can conceptualize that is like banked coals, right? Not like sparks, not like a raging fire, but something that keeps a steady, sustained heat over a long period of time, right? There's not a lot of variability or mutability in it, is the word that we would use. So Leo rules the heart. You've heard the phrase lion-hearted, right? Leo the lion-hearted, and is ruled by the sun. It's the symbol of kings, right? Is also the natural ruler of the 5th house. And because of that, through the heart, through the 5th house, he rules love and activities that we do for pleasure, things that we love to do, that we enjoy to do and take pleasure in. And so that can be lifelong love affairs with people or with hobbies, right? With activities that we're passionate about. The Leo archetype is the archetype of the artist, the actor, the king, the leader of the people, the one who inspires, right? Which is interesting because inspiration is the domain of Pisces and Neptune, right? But Leo inspires in much more of a morale type of way, like an inspiring to take action, an inspiring to take up a cause, and inspiring to rally around something common, which is, you know, often the king or the ruler, right? The leader of the people, the golden child. That's another Leo archetype. So Leo desires recognition, and that's what he inspires in us in that sense. So there's a strong need for love and attention driving that, and an intense creative urge behind the energy of Leo. And so Leo describes our creativity, our problem-solving abilities, our leadership abilities, and our style. He embodies the will. Hi, Katie. It's good to have you on. So we're just talking a bit about Leo archetypes and Leo themes. We just recapped what house this is touching in by rising sign for anyone who's watching. And we're just about to, here in a moment, jump into our releasing practice where I'll go over some prompts to kind of get you thinking about what you might like to let go of or release or move past or just kind of out of your life tonight, right? And so we're working with, ideally, by rising sign, we're working with the house that Leo falls in your natal chart, okay? And so we're talking about this leadership quality of Leo and how it describes our creativity and our problem-solving abilities. It's also especially describing those aspects of ourselves in the house that Leo falls in our natal chart. And one thing that I do want to mention right here before we move on to our prompts is remember that you can do these practices also for your sun sign. So if you have Leo sun, you can do, you can do this practice for your Leo sun if you have Leo sun, and then if you don't have Leo sun, rotate your natal chart to a position where the sun is in the first house, and then count around to Leo. Okay, and you'll do it for that house if that makes sense. So for our prompts, for what to kind of spur us into thinking about what it is we're ready to move past or let go. What don't you love anymore? Oh, Leo sun, there you go, perfect. So do this for your first house, Katie. You can do this for your by rising sign, and you can also do it for your first house because that's where you'll have your sun in your solar chart. Okay, but I want you to consider, what is it you're not passionate about anymore? What is no longer bringing you pleasure? Things that you used to enjoy doing or used to enjoy, period, and that you continue to do, keep, or give your attention to in some way, but it doesn't bring you pleasure any longer. It doesn't give you joy any longer. Do you have anything like that in your life that you're ready to let go of? To what are you giving away your will or your power? Or where in your life, maybe, are you giving away your will? Where are you giving away your power? Are you resisting or avoiding leadership in some way? Why? There's the big one. Is there a fear or some other thing that's holding you back here? Or consider, what have you created that you're resisting putting out into the world? What are you putting off creating because it would mean that you have to then put yourself out there? What is the source of your stage fright? And so what I want you to do is, considering these prompts, write down on your paper what it is that you are ready to move beyond, that you want to let go of tonight. Write it down, write it all down. And in whatever way, if you want to do a list or just like, short essay or whatever, doesn't matter. However you like, write it down, and then we're going to step into the releasing practice. So I'm going to review these prompts just real quick for anyone who's joining us late. Let's see, where do we go? Okay, so what don't you love anymore? What's no longer bringing you pleasure, yet you continue to do, keep, or give your attention to, in some way? What or where in your life are you giving away your power? Are you giving away your will? Are you resisting or avoiding leadership in some way, and why? And is there a fear or some other thing that's holding you back in that regard? What have you created that you're resisting putting out into the world? What are you putting off creating because it might mean that you would have to put yourself out there? What's the source of your stage fright, basically, in other words? And so write down what it is that you're ready to let go of. We'll take a few minutes in silence here to do that, and then we'll take a step of moving beyond it. I'm kind of excited about this. Hi, Marcia. It's good to have you on. We're just finishing up writing about what it is we'd like to let go of this evening for the full moon in Leo releasing practice. And I'm just about ready to share mine. If anyone would like to share what you're letting go of tonight in the comments, we'd love to have you share that. And for those of you who are watching live, or even those of you who catch the replay, so we've been doing this for more than a year now. We've been doing our live streams, the new moon intention setting and the full moon releasing practice, and I'm really kind of curious what results you've had in that time. And so if there's something that you think of that manifested for you, that was an intention that you set, or something that you've really noticed you ease around that you let go of at one of the releasing practices, I would love to have you tell me in the comments. I'm really kind of curious. I was thinking today about some wonderful things that I've managed to manifest over the course of the last year plus. And I was just wondering if anyone else has any stories they'd like to share about fun things that they've managed to make happen for themselves since we started this practice here in the group. So I have Gemini Rising, so this is for me a third house full moon, which of course has to do with travel and communication, neighbors, that sort of thing, and also like your immediate environment. And under this theme of Leo being in the third house, right, and creativity and things we're ready to move past. Maybe this is a leadership issue in my own behavior. So my studio and my office are all in one now. Some of you might not know I'm an artist as well as an astrologer, right? So I paint, and the room that I have for my office is supposed to be our formal dining room. It's the formal dining room in the house, right? So it has these gorgeous hardwood floors. I'm like terrified of messing it up. I'm terrified of getting paint everywhere. And so I don't often make the time to do that in my life, even though I really love it. It's my other thing that I'm passionate about. And I'd love to be able to do it, spend time doing it, if not every day, then at least every week, right? You'd like to be able to spend time on your hobby every week. Or I guess it's not really a hobby for me, but, something that you're passionate about, and fifth house rules hobbies, right? And so we have an extra building on our property that really is like torn up and needs a lot of work, but it's going to be my future studio space, so that my office can be in the house and my studio can be out of the house. But it's just a mess right now, and I can't work in it. And I'm ready to move past that. I'm ready to move past this cramped thing. I'm ready to move into a space of ease and flow and be able to be creative whenever I want to. And so that is what I'm ready to move past tonight. That's what I'm ready to let go of. And so what I wrote down here tonight was that I'm ready to move beyond having my studio in the house and with little room for creativity. And so that's what I'm letting go of this evening, and I'm curious if anyone wants to share. If what you're working with this evening is too private, that's fine. Don't worry about sharing. But if you'd like to share what it is you're letting go of, I know sometimes the prompts that we do get a little intense, and so it's not necessarily something that everyone is probably comfortable sharing every time. But I'd love to hear if you want to share what it is you're letting go of. But I am letting go of this situation with my space. It's like stagnant energy, and it just needs to move, and it wants to move. So here's what we do. So I use my big ceramic fire safe bowl here, and I encourage you to do this only ever in a fire safe place. So if you have a fireplace or a barbecue pit or something like that in your kitchen sink where you have water handy, what you're going to do, or you can even just tear this up. You don't have to. I light it on fire. You don't have to. You can tear it up. But the idea is whatever you wrote down on your paper, you're going to release it, right? You're going to let it go into the universe, not only metaphorically but literally, right? And so we're going to do that. Let me scroll back down my notes to where I was. We're going to kind of say a releasing statement with it as we do it, and you can say this in whatever way feels best to you. But here's my example. So I release this situation of stagnancy with my studio. I'm ready to move beyond having it in the house with no room for creativity, and to release those creative needs. I release this in my situation. It's a situation, right, that is no longer serving me. But you can say pattern or habit or thought or behavior. You can release whatever it is that you want to release, right? So I release this with my gratitude, this situation, for the lessons which it brought to me. I release this situation with love. And so that's what you do. And then you want to either burn completely or tear it up. You can go do whatever you want with it after that. Put it out in the flower bed. That's what I do with the ashes, is I go dump them in the flower bed because it's really good for your flower bed. So this is the part where it gets smoky, but we're just releasing it and it feels good. So don't do this on the live stream if you can't do it somewhere where you're safe. Wait and do it after the live stream is over, okay? If you're gonna burn it. And I like to make sure that it burns completely. And maybe that's not strictly necessary, but sure makes me feel better, right? So release it and let it go. I release this pattern, this habit, this thought, this situation or behavior that is no longer serving me. I release it with my gratitude for the lessons which it brought to me. I release it with love. And there it goes. And so it is, and that's all done. That's all you have to do. See? It's all gone. Feels good. You feel lighter when it's done, and I love it. I love it. I think I love this more than the intention setting, which is kind of funny. But thank you for joining me in that. And like I said, if you want to share what it is you're letting go of tonight in the comments, I'd love to hear what it is you feel that you're ready to move past. So we do have some announcements. I'm just still trying to make sure that everyone is caught up on the changes that we've had in the group and with 𝘵𝘵𝘁 since the month of February. So we split up we used to be doing like kind of an update portion of the broadcast when we had our new moon and full moon practices, where I would recap the transits for the month, where we were, what was coming up. We've broken that off to a separate broadcast. So now every other Monday, on the 𝘵𝘵𝘁 Astrology Facebook page, you can join me live at 1:30 Mountain Time, 3:30 Eastern, or 8:30 GMT for a recap, a bi-monthly recap of our current transits, what to watch for, what you can do, how to work them into your planning. And then every full moon and new moon, of course, we now just have our practice, and that keeps it from getting too long. So don't forget to head on over to the 𝘵𝘵𝘁 Astrology Facebook page and go to the events and just click on going on the events. And then what will happen is you'll get a reminder every 2 weeks before I go live to go ahead and join me. And I would love to have you in advance of those live streams in particular. Send me your questions. If you have any questions about upcoming transits that you would like me to address on the broadcast, feel free to send me your questions in advance, because I'd love to work any of that in that, that you're really wanting to hear touched on. And for personal readings, I'm booking now for May. So April is booked. I have 3 more openings in May. If anyone is wanting a personal reading, that's kind of our nearest time slot. Katie says, thank you for this live stream. It's great. Have to run. Thanks for the info on the events. That's perfect, Katie. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you later. Also, the March horoscopes are out, so be sure and read your March horoscopes. They're now out for folks who, if you don't have a subscription to the Sidereal monthly horoscopes, you get to read them for free at the beginning of every month. And so if you don't have a subscription, the March horoscopes are out. Head on over to 𝘵𝘵𝘁 and read your March horoscope with the short report, and then read your full horoscope for your rising sign and your sun sign, your Sidereal rising and sun sign. And then also, while you're there, I updated our blog post on Saturn and Sagittarius. I went ahead and updated it because Saturn entered Sagittarius last February, right? And then he went retrograde, and now he's come back in. And so now we've really begun this in full swing since November. And so what I did was I updated the Saturn Sagittarius blog post with information by sign of how this could affect you, so that anytime over the coming 2 years, plus 2+ years, because he'll be in Sagittarius until January 2020, you can come back to this blog post if you need to refer to what this influence can mean for you if you need that. And so I will go ahead and share that on the 𝘵𝘵𝘁 Astrology Facebook page, and I'll share it into the group too. But I wanted to let you know that I updated that blog post. And also too, be sure to like and share the video, if you know someone who you think could benefit from doing a releasing practice like the one that we just did, please, tag them or share this with them. And also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So that's a brand new thing. I'll share a link in the group for that too. But subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then you won't ever miss any of the Sidereal Insights videos or the newer full moon videos or any of the astrology tutorials I'm doing. But thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you next time, and have a wonderful and blessed full moon. Thanks.